What's going on, everybody? Tech here, Geek here. I want to dedicate this video to the fanboys because I've talked about fanboys a few times in my YouTube channel and things like that. You know, this is a tech channel I'm trying to create here and just give you the best tech news that's out there. But right now, I had to talk fanboys because, you know, they pretty much drive the industry. They drive companies. They pretty much drive the economy these days. Because I was at GameStop looking for some games for my Xbox One and my Xbox 360, seeing if anything out there I wanted to get my hands on. The funniest thing happened. These two kids, probably like in high school, I'd give them high school, 10th graders, 11th graders maybe. Then, maybe even 9th graders, but it was kind of funny. They both came in. One was an Xbox fanboy, one was a PlayStation fanboy. And I just stood there and just absorbed all this and just see, this is what drives American companies today. Because the Xbox guy was like, yeah, you know, the Xbox is better because it runs at 1080p and things like that, and the PlayStation 4 don't. Then the manager at the store was like, well, you're mistaken with that because the PS4 runs games at 1080p, the Xbox One doesn't run them yet. So he was just telling them basically they both good systems. They both, you know, they're going to have their good games and everything. They both going to run at 1080p eventually once developers get their hands on how to understand the hardware and how to really take control of that 8-core system and both of them have. Now, a lot of people say that PS4 does have a higher spec range, but when it comes down to it, if your games run fast, look smooth, at the end of the day, what technical difference you really gonna see? But you know, like I said, like he was telling the guy, like you're gonna have to wait a year to see what these systems has potentially do. And that's why I was cracking up, because I was like, you know what? I talked about this before. You know, this is what drives arguments left and right. It could be Mac versus PC, it could be Sony versus Microsoft, or PlayStation versus Xbox or whatever. Then you got, like, if you got movies, you got DC versus Marvel and things like that. You got your fanboys everywhere, and it's just, I just want to give a dedication out to them and just give a shout out, because I just felt that was so funny. Because, you know, you hear about it all the time. You're trying to you kind of find yourself in these arguments too when it comes down to like what company you prefer over another one and things like that. You kind of find yourself in these arguments, but when you in the outside and you see somebody else doing it, you kind of find, like, now you see why a lot of people just love certain companies. And it's just, maybe, you know, it's just you always had that bias where I'm like, no, that's this, I don't want to deal with that because I'm so used to this. And that's perfectly fine. You know, a lot of people have those situations where, you know, a lot of people use Macs, you know, because they're comfortable with them, they use them all the time, they feel better with them. You know, they don't trust the PC. And vice versa when it comes to a PC. A PC user always use a PC and say they like PCs because they're used to them. They know it goes on and on. Like with Xbox and PlayStation, it's pretty much which controller you prefer more and which ones have the games you want. That's pretty much what it really comes down to at the end of the day now. Because back when PS2 was out, Xbox didn't even have a chance. It didn't even have most of the games PlayStation had. So when it came down to it, it was just a dead end run for them. But when it came to the Xbox 360, they really had a chance this time around. They really learned from their mistakes the first time around and made a better system. You know, it had its flaws like any other system. So, but it goes to show you that it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It's just what you prefer. That's what really fanboy is. It's pretty much what you prefer. A lot of people, you know the PlayStation. You know what I mean? It's been around for almost 20 years now, so they know just PlayStation. Some people jump to the Xbox. It was something different, something new, something, you know what I mean? It would have things that Sony didn't just have. So it's, at the end of the day, fanboyism is just pretty much what you prefer. That's all it is. It's just funny when you see it and you're kind of outside looking in at it. And it was kind of funny because you see, like with movies, you see DC fanboys and Marvel fanboys, and like, you know, they go back and forth and saying, well, Marvel is just killing the game right now with their movies, where DC is just playing catch up and they don't know what they're doing, things like that. And it's just funny when you see the fanboy fights back and forth, like, oh, this comic's better than this one and this game's better than that movie, because it's just funny. So I just want to give a shout out to all the fanboys. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. And any fanboy out there, leave a comment down below. Let me know how you feel about all this, because I just was cracking up when I was sitting there in the GameStop just looking for some games, and I hear I wouldn't say the oldest one, but you know, one of them common, things where one PlayStation guy comes in, one Xbox comes in, and they come clashing at their heads about which one's better. It was classic. I enjoyed every minute of it, and I love all my fanboys. This is all for you. I wanted to make a video saying I love the fanboys. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.